Yo, 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 baby pop. Hey, y'all. It is your favorite perky barista, Juanita Michelle, and I am right here inside the People's Coffee House, Third Perk, in beautiful downtown Dayton. I got a treat for you guys today because, first of all, this is my first time attempting a podcast where my guest is outside of the coffee house. I am today with guys, Miss Stephanie Synclair, and she is in her home in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to have you. And look, guys, I just want to remind you that this is the Broken Entrepreneur Podcast, and we are not celebrating brokenness. We are acknowledging that sometimes things go wrong, but when we acknowledge, we can fix it, right? So I am in the midst of a journey that started for me over a year ago, and we are repairing and healing as we speak. So I've got Miss Stephanie Sinclair here. And let me first tell you guys, I was stalking her a little bit on Instagram. Okay. I was stalking her a little bit or a lot. I have created this whole new lifestyle that I need to live because I've been watching her and her amazing journey in Italy. So I am so excited. I was so excited that I finally had a chance to meet her. And if you guys don't know, we are serving her wonderful luxury teas here in the coffee house as we speak. So I'm going to let Stephanie give us a little background on who she is and what makes her an entrepreneur. So, Stephanie, if you don't mind, can you tell my Broken Entrepreneur Podcast family a little bit about yourself? And again, what makes you an entrepreneur?
It's really interesting because I really hate this question. I hate this question because when you go through like your journey, you're like, man, I've been all over the place. I really am ADHD. But long story short, I have LaRue 1680. We launched in October of 2020. When we first started, we were just a luxury tea company, and since then we have morphed into a wellness company that serves tea for wellness, which is a little bit of a different spin, but we have enough things that just taste good. I think as a community we really need to lean into our health and wellness and being the best versions of ourselves as possible and feeding ourselves the best thing possible. And so I've really enjoyed shifting the company to that viewpoint. What makes me an entrepreneur? I've actually, even though this company started in 2020, I quit my job in 2009. So this is my 15th year. October this month makes 15 years that I have been an entrepreneur. I have been a coaching consultant this entire time. In
Wow.
2018, yeah, in 2018, I went back to school for my master's and my PhD, and I became a neurometaphysicist. And so, whereas I started out as a consultant around marketing and scaling your business, one of the things I realized is what's most important, actually, I found for entrepreneurship as a whole is your programming, your belief systems, your thought processes, how you view the world, how you view money, how you view what's possible, all those things. And so when I
Mm-hmm.
began to see that within my clients, that ultimately, even though people would join me to learn how to market and scale, when people would talk about what their biggest takeaway, it was always something around lifestyle. It was always something around what was possible. And I realized I was kind of already in this space and decided to go back to school just to, flex a little bit and have a few letters behind my name for credibility in having that conversation. And so since 2018, I have been focused on subconscious reprogramming on the consulting side. And like I said, LaRue was launched in 2020.
Okay. So let me also say to you that I am excited about that work that you do
Mhm.
because that, in my opinion, is the biggest holdup for so many.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes I am looking at different content that is being offered. I'm watching trainings and workshops. My background is in education.
Mhm.
So I have created pieces that I am so proud of. And
Mhm.
then I see people who are getting like paid a ton of money And I feel like sometimes their content isn't as strong. But what is strong is their ability to think that they should be earning those dollars, and they're doing it. So it's not always that talent or the ability, it's just the thought that I can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can be the most talented person, but if your belief systems don't align with that, you'll never really see. Well, first of all, you won't have the audacity necessary to even show up and be seen in the way you want to, or to charge, or all of those things. You need to have the belief to even do those things, right? And so it doesn't
Yes.
matter how talented you are. Now, what the hope is that you can balance that self-belief with also getting better with your craft and growing. Now, we don't always see that. And one of the things that I know is that those people will eventually move on to the next thing, because it's only so long you can fake it and be good in this one thing. You'll move on to the next thing and the next thing. It's usually short lived. But ultimately, those people remain successful because they believe in themselves, and they'll just go from one business to the other to the other. Now, imagine if you
Yes.
were really passionate, not only about your work, but passionate about, you know, what's possible, what your soul is calling you to do, knowing that you are meant for it, knowing that it is. Like, if you could come with that level of surety, you're great with your work and you have surety, it would be unstoppable.
Right, right. So one of the things that I'm going to continue to work on is just getting that mindset together. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
amazing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I have a money disconnection. And when I get that,
Mm-hmm.
that, and we get it all together,
Yeah.
she's gonna be dangerous, Stephanie. She's
Yeah.
gonna be
And
dangerous.
you know, I think that's like a huge piece for so many people. Like, people see money as being something that's out there, right? And you should be just as sure about money being in your life as you are about, if you believe in a higher power. Like, if you believe God lives, breathes, and exists in you, then you should know that money is just automatic as well. You should not question that no more than you should question your heart beating. And I think that the reason we don't see it like that is because we don't trust it. We question it. We feel like it's something that's so hard to make. We have adopted these interesting belief systems that don't serve us. And I always say, like, we can choose to keep them or you can choose to get rid of
Right,
them. Now, for me,
right.
I'm going to choose the thing that aligns with what I want. And so, even if I was leaning towards, like, I really believe this, but you know what, this is not serving me. I've been with these beliefs for so long. Like, I tried you, I've been trying you. Now, let me go over here and try
Yes,
something different so I can get a different
yes.
experience, right?
And that, but guess what? That makes perfect sense because it's not working. And one of someone who I love and adore, she was talking about giving up. And I'm like, oh no, sweetie, we can't. Oh no, giving up is not an option. Like
Mm-hmm.
your talents and she was like, I'm not good enough to do this. And I'm like, well, because you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how how do you work with people? Tell me about how people find you, how do they work with you, and what is some of the processes that you put someone through to help them or to heal their mind?
Yeah, well, first, I'm going to assume that people find me probably from social media, word of mouth. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Social media, word of mouth is probably the biggest place people find me. Um, I've done a lot of TV, a lot of news. So who knows? I just kind of been floating around and I think I've been out here long enough. I also like to say that because I have my belief system so in check, I'm always
Mhm.
pulled in the places that I'm supposed to be for my people to find me because my beliefs align.
Okay,
So when your beliefs align, the opportunities show up. You know what opportunities to say yes to.
absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So I think everything comes back to belief work. But one of the first things that I take my clients do through is really a conversation about relationship with money. Like, one of my cornerstone I guess I would say programs is something called, actually it's called Align as Fuck, right? That's what it's called. But I am rebranding it as Money Aligned only because, I am a cursor and I've been leaning out of that more. It's not, it's not very classy. It's not very bougie. And so it's like, when you find yourself being in churches and synagogues or Kensington Palace and saying shit, fuck, damn, it's like, okay, you have a real problem. You got to fix it, right? So I'm
I
rebranding.
feel you.
Yeah, I'm rebranding Aligned AF to Money Aligned, but it's the same
Okay.
program. And It's literally all about being completely aligned with money. So like, even if you come into my higher program, so right now I have a program called Elite. It's only 10 entrepreneurs. It's a higher ticket program. Before we start, my people have to go through Aligned AF, right? So it's like the cornerstone of everything. And it's literally about your relationship with money. We get clear on what your current programming, thought process, etc., is around money, your relationship to money, how you feel about money and other people with money. This comes out a lot. Even people who think they have like the best relationship, they like money, they love money. And yet when they see other people that have things that they don't, they have something negative to say. You can literally listen to a person talk about money or people with money and clearly see where their relationship with money is. And so that's like the first thing. And then the next thing I like to do is basically take them through a very long process that is about defining your relationship. And I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek into this for a second. Is a really great way that I like to tell people to look at it, that most people tell me they never looked at money, is imagine money was your partner. Well, it is your partner, but most people don't see it that way. But imagine money is your partner. Imagine money was your lover, partner, right? So think about a partner that you are all, well, people do this actually. That's why they don't have great relationships. But think about a partner who you're always talking negative about, you're always talking down to. Think about a partner that you have no faith and trust in. What does your relationship with that partner look like? You're always bickering to them, about them. As soon as they turn their back, you have something negative to say about them. This is how people treat their money. My goal when you go through Aligned AF or any kind of program with me is for you to walk away and know that you can send money off, and money's just going to go get more of its friends and come back. You don't feel any anxiety. Most people feel so much anxiety around investments and money and spending money, which is more so like circulating money, but people feel so much anxiety. But the only reason you feel anxiety, it's because you don't know and you don't trust that you send that money off, it's going to come back. You are literally moving and operating in a space of lack. But imagine, so say you're married or you're in a committed relationship. When your man or woman walk out the door, like, why would you ever think they're not going to come home? They're just going to work. They're going to work for you and bring home the bacon. Yes. Why would you ever think your partner is not coming home? And so a huge piece of what we do is rewrite our relationship with money. And that's huge. And people tend to leave, and the first thing they say is they've never even looked at money as a partner in their life. And like I said, I trust money like I trust God, because to me, money is simply a physical representation of God in my life. God knows I can't like call up Georgia Power and be like, I love y'all, and my power bill paid, right? Money is a physical representation of God in my life. That's God shows up via money, people, and money through people. That's a physical representation. So if you trust God, why are you worried about money?
Right. Absolutely. Because that is
sense for you.
Say that again.
But I hope that makes sense for you.
It makes perfect sense. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes so much sense that it is a relationship. And sometimes in our relationships we are misused, we feel abused, we feel like we were abandoned. And those are things you have to clear up, just like
to clear it up.
Yes, because we've had relationships that maybe didn't go so well.
Absolutely. But that's why it's really important. You made a statement just then. You said we've had relationships where we've been used, abused, not been there for us. But that's why one of the things I want people to do is take inventory of how we've misused money.
Yes.
We don't work to grow money. We don't work to be the best partner for our money. We don't study our money. We don't even pay attention to our money. Most people can't even tell you how much is in their account. Most people are not that attentive to money because they have so much fear and anxiety connected to the energy of money as a whole. And so
sometimes you're a bad partner.
We are. That's what I'm gonna
I'm
say.
just use I'm
It's
just
us.
using you. I'm not really just like you just said. I'm not getting to know you. I'm not investing in you. I'm not
Mhm.
learning how to help you to grow or
Yeah.
to develop you. So we
Right.
treat money like some of our real life relationships.
And why
Look,
would anybody want to be by you? Why would anybody want to hang out with you and you using me? I don't want to be by you. Matter of fact, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Right.
absolutely,
So we
absolutely.
have to recognize it is a relationship. It is very much a relationship. The other thought process around it is, you know how I mentioned, like, I trust that money gonna be there because I trust God gonna be there. We have to now, regardless of
Yes.
what your higher power is, if you have
Mhm.
one, if not, then we could talk about that in other ways as well. But if you have a higher power, here's the reality is if you don't trust money to be there, you don't really trust God the way you say you do. And that's a conversation people not ready to have. That's not
Mm,
ready to have that because people love to talk about how much they trust God. No, you don't. You lying. No, you don't. It sounds good. It sounds good to say, but you don't. Because
yeah.
trusting God is not having anxiety and angst. It's not.
Well, we still have people who don't trust in the 23rd Psalms. It's very clear. The
Yeah.
Lord is my
Yeah.
shepherd.
Yes. And it
I
also
shall
means
not be without. It's that
it do
simple.
not. It is. And it's just, it's interesting to watch. I have said this to people so many times. I can take my account to zero many times, and I know within 24 hours I have thousands of dollars in my account. I have no, like, why wouldn't I? Because it went to zero because I sent it off to do some work for me. Like, you'll go off
Yes.
for work and you'll go get some friends, you go bring them home, and we go have a menage a trois up in the bank account. We gonna have a good little time in the bank account. Why wouldn't you come home?
Meow.
Yes, yes, it's a whole little party. Why would we not, right? I'm so inappropriate, but this is me for real. But you know,
I'm with
we
you though. I'm
do.
with you. I
This is
am
what we
totally with you.
do. I wish
So
people really understood that about money, though. Like, we make it be, it's interesting for us to put it on such a pedestal. We also treat it like it's trash. Like, it's both. Like, on one hand, it's oh so important, but then also you're not
mhm,
really that important. It's very interesting.
yes. Yeah, and guess what? I totally agree with you. And I'm gonna let the motorcycle go past. Can you hear it?
I heard it just for a second, but I don't hear it anymore.
And it just
Oh,
it sounds just a wee sick. Tony, your chopper sounds sick. Okay.
it's funny.
Okay. So the one thing I'm taking away from this, and I am going to do something different with my own life, is so we would have to have 3 more hours because I will also have to talk about me and how I'm trying to show up in relationships and
Mhm.
not in all relationships.
Mhm.
So my money is going to be no different about how I'm trying to show up in my relationships.
Yeah.
It is important that we take accountability holistically. So when we're wrong, we have to acknowledge that we're wrong and figure out the why. Why did you do that?
And
Like
then correct the behavior.
and correct the behavior. So I'm really focusing myself on correcting behaviors that I have in variety of relationships because
Mhm.
I do want to be better.
Mhm.
And I feel like I have such a charge on my life that I'm not sure where the road is taking me,
Mhm.
other than I know I'm supposed to have property outside of the United States.
Mhm.
I know that I am supposed to be living freely. I know that I am to be a lady of leisure. And in order for me to clearly become that lady of leisure, I have to have income that is allowing me to live the life that I deserve.
Yeah.
So I am excited about this conversation and doing something about these relationships that I haven't uh, did better at.
Yeah. And it's interesting, just also to give yourself a little bit here is we have to also give ourselves the grace because most people have never even heard about money as a relationship, right? And so how can we change something that we were ignorant of? We didn't know any better. And so we have to acknowledge that I didn't know any better. But now that I know better, I am going to make this change. I believe
Right.
that, you know, what you're listening to me and anybody else is who's listening to this, the recording, like this is how you know it's time, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't even come into your awareness now. It wouldn't even be in your face now. If it's in
Mhm.
your face now, that means it's time for you to really work on this. Now, after this, you can be mad with yourself because you know better. You've heard it all.
Right.
The seed has been
Right.
planted. But you
Absolutely.
know, for now, we have to give ourselves grace for things that we didn't have a, you know, I called my mom about it ain't really money, but it's so silly. I'm gonna tell you anyway. I called my mom and said, "Girl, why you did not tell me?" Oh, this is gonna be so horrible. I hope she does not see this. But I said, "Girl, why you didn't tell me how to use my vagina for good?" This has been a couple of years ago, right? And she was like, "What?" And I was like, you know, when I was in my 20s, like your 20s, you are in like a prime state. Like everybody wants you to 20-year-olds, 30 to 40. You know, I'm here dealing with these dusties. Why you did not tell me to do better? Like, I just don't understand why you just let me date people that weren't even worthy of my attention, right? You were letting me date in potential. And my mom said, well, Stephanie, if I knew, I would have married different. And I had to pause
Look,
on that for a minute. Oh,
girl, wait a minute.
look, she gonna kill me if she end up watching this. But when she said it, it was like an immediate, like,
I
yeah.
learned something from my daughter. She was 3 years old. Let me tell you what I learned from a 3-year-old daughter. She's right now 25. I have my family dynamics is really strange, but I have nephews and nieces that are 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorites, Stefan, honey, the ladies love Stefan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They've always loved him, all of them. So I remember, like, she ain't never fooled with Stefan. You hear me? Ain't never had too much foolings with Stefan. It was kind of funny because his ego was shattered messing around with this baby of mine because he wasn't accustomed to women not just loving him, right? So we run into my nephew at the mall, and he said, "Hey, KP, can I have a hug?" And she said, "Can I have a kiss? You want $1?" He handed her that money, right? Can I have a hug?
Okay.
You want some more money? Before he got finished, he had handed that little 3-year-old $25. And guess what happened at the end of that transaction?
What?
Nothing.
These kids have some boundaries. Listen, when they young, and here's the thing that we don't talk about is we break our kids from having boundaries. We come here with this intuition and the world. You know,
Mhm.
our parents, our civic leaders, they break us from what our natural intuition is.
Yes.
She didn't want to, she didn't have to, and I got this $25. And
And
I'm
I got
still not.
this money. I got this money, and it wasn't my fault. I told you from the very beginning, no, and you kept lining these pockets. And at the end, she stuck with her no and had the money, got the bag.
Absolutely.
And it was like, I was watching her and I was like, wow,
I
you
love
can,
that though.
yes.
I love
It's
it.
like, so her relationship with money, and let me also say, my daughter's relationship with money has always been very different. Always
Mhm.
been very different. And what she's been able to capture has always been different. And I've always watched her like, how you doing that? And
Yeah.
but it's just the way she thinks about money is very different than how I think about money.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
the way we think about money is based upon number one, our programming, but also our experiences based off what our programming is just goes to push in these beliefs even more. And I did a post on Facebook earlier today. Was that today? I don't know. I always mix my days up, but I'm still a little jet lagged. You know, I got here. It wasn't even 48 hours ago that I landed, so I'm
wow.
exhausted. But yeah, I literally just got here. But um, you know, one of the things that I posted about was there's nothing stopping you from making and having money but you.
Right.
And this is not going to be a very popular conversation, and maybe I shouldn't even say it. It gets me in trouble, and I'm using trouble in quotations because I mean, what you gonna do? I say it, people be mad, but like it's trouble, but whatever. I don't believe. Should I say it like this? So I have a friend who she has a PhD in education. You're in education as well. She has a PhD in education. And we have talked a lot about like dynamics of being a Black woman or a Black person in America. And she runs this program called Black School for White People. So she's very much involved in like certain parts of social justice, but not so much into social justice. So a lot of conversations I don't get into because things I haven't experienced, right? And I'm gonna tell you what I mean in a moment. I forgot what it was that was happening online, but like I don't buy into the belief that because I'm Black, I can't have money. I just do not buy into that belief. I've never bought into it. And because I've never bought into it, it has never been my experience, right? So we were talking about like the fact that like there are some people who just always experiencing something because they're Black or because they're a woman. And I said, but Queenie, I don't know. It's just I don't know. And she said, I know what you're going to say, Stephanie. It's a belief system. And I said, it is. She was like, well, we're monoliths. And I said, yeah, but not because we're somehow a special Black person. That's not it by any means.
Right.
We are different only because we didn't get that programming that because we're Black, we can't. I never got it. It was never, and it's interesting because I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. My mom's 50s baby in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, think about Birmingham in the 50s. You would think that somehow, having a mother who grew up in the 50s in the middle of the civil rights movement in Birmingham, Alabama, that I would have, we were talking about it because she's had a similar upbringing than I have. Even though my mother grew up in Birmingham, my grandmother kept her out of all of that. So she didn't even know what was going on, right?
Okay.
And so I grew up in a very mixed community, very mixed in high school and in middle school. Middle school, I remember specifically was 3,000 people in middle school. And it might have been 13 Black people in the entire school, right? But I had no problems, no issues. Like I went to school with some of like the wealthiest people, like old money people. No problem, no issues. So, I mean, I grew up in a mixed community. This was my experience. And so you'll hear other people tell the story of similar communities, but they're like, people didn't like me. I'm like, I don't know. And I grew up in Alabama, so I can't really, I don't know. And once I went back to school and I really began to study programming, and I really began to understand, if we break it down to like the easiest way to put it, is how you view the world is how the world views you.
Yes.
How you view the world is how the world views you. I literally got, like, I remember, you can say, my mama might not have told me how to use my vagina for good, but what she told me was that I was amazing. What she told me is that people love me. What she told me is that I could do, have, and achieve anything that I desire in my life. What she told me is I was the best at everything. Now, you can take that how you want to. It made me think I was the best, right? My mom really only spoke power into me and what I could accomplish. I never received any programming that because I was Black, that meant anything. That never was a programming that I received. So now take what I learned of how you see the world is how the world sees you. I move through life expecting everyone to like me. I move through life expecting people to find favor in me and with me and to open doors for me. I move through life thinking that if you're not kind to me, you maybe woke up and had an argument with your partner. Hell, I don't know. It doesn't have anything to do with me. There is nothing in my programming that says it has to be so blatant. It has to be so in my face because I'm automatically going to think it's you. It's not me. Why would it be me? And because of that, I haven't really experienced. Now, girl grows up, suburb of Birmingham, Alabama. I literally can tell you I probably was 20, no, maybe 30 before I ever had anything that I would consider racism. And I lived in a whole other state at that time. I was in Dallas, Texas, right? Like literally my whole life. So a lot of times I hear people say like, oh, you must have grew up with money. We weren't poor, but my mom's a nurse. Like she was, I'm a working class family is what we grew up in.
Mhm.
No, it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with that. When I look into the world, I see a world that loves me. And so, therefore, the world has always mirrored that back to me. When I tell you, I understand, like I tell people, I'm like, listen, I got favor on my life. But the reason I got favor on my life is because I believe I have favor on my life. I really see the world as that, right? So remember, how
Yes.
you see the world is going to be mirrored back to you. My very first job, well, my very first job was for Chuck E. Cheese, but I only did that for like a week or two. It ended up getting called by a local radio station, the hottest R&B and hip hop station in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm 16 years old. I'm the only 16-year-old working at the radio station. People are like, oh my God, oh my God. Literally, I have had internship opportunities. My first degree is in broadcast communications. I remember working at the airport while I was in college, and this guy came through the airport and he was carrying a bag that said the Today Show, NBC Today Show. And I struck up a conversation with him. He very clearly didn't want to be bothered with me. Like his face was very much like, I don't want to be bothered, but me being me, hi, junior year at the university. Like I'm talking, he gives me his card. I start keeping in contact. Next thing I know, I got a job at NBC 13 in Birmingham, Alabama. Now I'm in college. Like this is how my entire life has always ran, just like this. But I see the world as being open for me. Why would God
Okay.
create me and create me to have these wants and needs and desires, but not have the way there for me? Why don't have a
Right.
reason to have anxiety or worry? All these opportunities walk right in front of us every day. But if you received a message that because you're Black, it means fill in the blank, that you're not enough, that it's going to be hard, the opportunities won't come to you as easy. Like I never even picked up the messaging that I have to work harder. No, the hell I don't. I don't. And one of the things I used to talk about all the time, it's a little different right now. I'm in a busy season in my life. But up until like 3 months ago, I literally was working 4 to 5 hours a month,
Right
not a week,
now.
not a day, a month. I never received that. And thus, that never became my truth within my life. And so, if I can get people to really understand, like, this is the truth about everything, everything is mirrored back to you. Now, again, it's very hard for our people to connect to very often because, again, it's programming. So if your programming tells you something completely different, hearing me say that is quite triggering. Like it
Mm.
really is quite triggering, and I get it and I understand it. But hearing me say it, even though it's triggering, what I always hope is it's going to plant a seed. And I really believe our minds are fertile. Where you plant a seed, something is going to
Right.
grow, right? So you may be triggered. You may be like, I don't believe that because what about this and what about systematic racism? It's not saying those things don't exist. They don't have anything to do with me. They for people who believe in that. They don't have anything to do with
Mm.
it.
Okay.
It doesn't touch my world because that's not a part of my world, right?
Right. Right.
So I get it. I understand, but what my hope and prayer and wish is that people, after they hear this, they'll go away and they're so bothered and they're so triggered. But then when they go to sleep at night, they be like, but I really want a life like that where I can like really want something and just show up
Look,
for. Yeah. Like,
those people.
true.
And that's why sometimes I feel like I'm confusing the universe because I am the same person who believes that I get a gift every day. It's like, and so the people who used to work for me, they used to really trip out because I would say, I get a gift every day. And she'd be like, you don't get a gift every day. I said, sweetie, every day. Every day. Juanita gets a gift every day. So then she would be working. There may be flowers delivered. It may be a dress delivered. It may be just, she said, so then she starts saying it. She said, Miss Juanita get a gift every day. Because
Now
she
you
she
got something.
saw.
No, wait. I want to point something out to you. I just sometimes I be so excited. I feel like, oh, I get so excited. Wait a minute. Because I don't even know if you saw what happened. I don't even know if you saw what happened.
What happened?
But this is real life. When you believe in yourself that much, you go turn around and other folks go start affirming for your life too. Like you believe so much. It went from you affirming you get a gift every day to she like, you do get a gift. You get it. That's just more power going to you getting a gift every day. I
Every
wish
day.
you would recognize if you believe in yourself about anything like that, it literally will start rubbing off on other people and they'll be like, Miss Juanita, she's so successful. Her coffee house stay crowded. Like all the time. Like they will start believing it and saying it. And it literally is how it works. Like, so I'll hear people or see people tag me and stuff all the time. They're like, who the luckiest person you know? People really tag me. And I don't really use lucky, but it's interesting that people see me like that, right? And I'm like, I love that y'all see me like that. Yes, keep affirming that for me. Absolutely. Because
Yes.
when you really believe your ish, when you believe it, other people believe it too. Because
Absolutely.
remember, how you see the world is mirrored back. So when you don't believe it, they don't believe it. When you really believe it, they go believe it. Because everything, literally, how you see the world and you are included in the world is a mirrored back to you.
Absolutely. And I believe that. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I go back to the mere fact that there are some things that I believe should happen in my life, right? I stand strong on that gift every day because I do get a gift every day. And I got several people who they're like, well, I need to get a gift. And I think it's so funny when I hear people say that, right? So why I have this relationship with money that they're like I have to work hard for it. I want to dismiss that. My money should flow to me effortlessly and easily.
But also, it's bullshit. Excuse my language. It's BS because if you think about the people who work the hardest physically, let me add
Mm-hmm.
that part. When the people who work the hardest are not the people who are the most paid. So we know it's a lie. We know it's not
That
true.
is.
We
That
literally
is a
have
lie.
evidence that it's not true, and yet we still choose to believe in it. And it's like the evidence is all around us that is not that's not it. It's not saying that you don't work. Like, even though I was only working like 4 hours a month. The truth is, I was always
Right.
thinking, this is where I work internally. A lot of my work, I'm gonna sound real woo woo, but a lot of my work is in my visioning and what I see for myself, right? I'm a big
Yes.
visioner and seeing my life. Like, it's so funny. So when I was just in Italy, that's probably why I got sick. It's like how busy I be, and then I turn right back around. I went to
Mm-hmm.
film for a TV project. Excuse me. And it was interesting because as I was filming for the TV project at my house, what like literally in the middle of filming, she was like, "You ever thought about hosting like your own like home show?" I was like, "Actually, I have been." She literally repeated something that I have been seeing for myself. But as we were going through the house and I was showing them the house and showing them the different storage, like it was a moment that I had to pause because I recognized that there was a moment that came directly out my vision, and I saw myself in that moment living in the vision that I had been seeing, like literally
Oh,
living in it. And I had to pause, and she was like, "You're okay?" I'm like,
oh,
"I'm so sorry." I said, "Let's do that again." But what she didn't realize is that I had that awareness. It was like it was an instant when it's so silly. I have this thing that's like it's like a seat, like a bench, but it's actually
yes.
storage. So when your house 500 years old, you don't have no closets. So you have to have like creative ways to store, right? So as
Yes.
soon as I opened it to show the camera, I'm like, so this is my study. And one of the things that I love in this room is this bench. And let me show you why. And as soon as I touched the bench to lift it for the storage, it was all of a sudden I was transported to the vision. And I wanted to almost cry, but I couldn't mess up my makeup because I was like, oh my God, I am literally living in my vision. I am
Yeah.
literally living in my vision. I'm so grateful. And I'm a believer in gratitude. I'm so grateful. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so tired, but this is just the beginning. This is just the
Mm.
and it was like my awareness of that, but I'm a big visioner. So I literally spent a lot of time here seeing myself having the things that I really desire, living in the way that I desire. So, like, before I got my house, I was already like in the house decorating before I even closed on the house. Before I found the house, I was already looking like at my house before I even got to the house. I don't know what it is about me in the kitchen.
Wow.
I'm always in probably because
I love
but
kitchens.
I'm like always in the kitchen in these
That's the
visions.
heart.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It is
The
hard.
kitchen literally is the heart of a home. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
It
hands
is.
down, it is such a mecca for happiness in a house.
Yes, family and friends, and like, and I don't care what
Facts.
culture it is. I don't care what culture it is. It literally crossed cultural bounds, and so that's where a lot of the work happened. When you talk to people who are really successful, you will find that they're visionaries, and they
Mm.
make it out and do physical
Keep
work or be
talking.
at office and those things. They make it out and do those things, but they are visionaries. They literally see themselves successful before it actually happened or see themselves. I remember seeing an interview of Beyonce's and she was saying she sees all her concerts before she actually does the concerts. Like
Oh
almost
wow.
everyone, Jim Carrey is big into seeing what he desires.
I
You know,
remember him talking about the $1 million check that he wrote
mhm.
himself
Yes,
and
yes.
how he looked forward to cashing that
Yes,
$1 million
he's
check.
a big believer in like if there's a project you want, see yourself. So right now, like I felt like, and I always like to talk about it, like one of my favorite books, and kind of like a book I recommend to everybody is the Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn.
Yes.
It's like it was one of the books that, I hate to say like it saved me. Everybody else like God saved me. I'm like, that book saved me. God sent me that book, baby. God sent me that. God told somebody to tell me to get that book. And I ain't had no money. Like, listen, you would hear me talking, you would think I always had money. No, 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 no. Not true. Not true at all. I remember being back at my mom's house because business slow and I can't keep it together and like, oh shush. I'm at my mom's house and I ended up meeting this lady who I called my spiritual mentor. And she probably was sick of hearing me complain because now in hindsight, I'm like, I probably was in a period of my life where that's why life was hard because I was complaining for that period, right?
Yes.
And she
Yes.
told me, she said, it's two books I want you to get. I want you to get The Game of Life and How to Play It and The Four Agreements. And it was interesting because I didn't have the money to go get the books. I did not have it. So what I did is I Googled, I was like, I wanted Audible to get an audiobook. So I would looked at it and I think I could do a 30-day trial and get one book, but I needed both books. And I found somebody's code, like they were probably an affiliate, and it was you get 2 free books. And even if you decide not to keep the membership after 30 days, you keep the book. So I got those 2 books and I listened to them both, but The Game of Life and How to Play It really resonated with me. And it's only 2 hours and some change. And I had my headphones and I put them in my ear and I literally played that book on repeat day in and day out. I would wake up and turn it on. I would go to sleep with it on. My kid, I remember when he was in kindergarten, the book would come on and he was repeating the words because it would be on so much, right? And I want to say that was the first time that I realized somehow I got lost from what I was raised in. Somehow I got lost, like out in the world, meeting people around other people who like, oh, this is what being grown is. Being grown is a struggle. And I kind of adopted, like, why not adopt that? This don't have to be my truth. And it was like this awareness of like, you are really struggling right now because you have chosen to struggle. You don't want to struggle, but you've chosen to struggle. You live in
Mm.
the struggle. You repeat the struggle. You think about the struggle. And it was like this knowing of as long as you think about the struggle and repeat the struggle and don't like where you are and can't find happiness and can't find joy and don't find gratitude, then you're going to keep repeating it. And so from that point on, I literally consciously worked. I tell people this is the hardest work you will ever do. I consciously worked to rid myself of those thought processes. And within 3 months, my life changed.
Oh,
So
praise
that
God.
particular book, I don't even know why I brought it up. You must have said something that made me
Well,
bring it up.
no, because
That,
so you and I have had a conversation about that book, and guess what?
but
I think I've already listened to that book 10 times already, right?
I'll be there. That
I was just having a conversation with someone earlier today, and I was talking about how my morning routines are off and how I needed to get back in track in step because it makes all the difference, right?
Mhm.
And I read that book, and the one thing that I really appreciated about that book is that it has chapters for different areas of your life. And just earlier today, a girlfriend and I were talking about the Game of Life book. So that's the second time that book has come up today. I will be
Mhm.
going to sleep with that book
It is
because
so
it is a
powerful.
2 hour book and it is so powerful.
To be
But
so simple, though, isn't it so simple? It is
when I
simple.
say there's nothing complicated about winning, it's all about you. It's all about you. And so here's Stephanie. I'm convicting myself because I have vision boards that I have kept, and they look like history pages because they were such powerful tools on my own personal journey, right? And I believe that as I got comfortable into the coffee house, my vision kind of shrunk because I had completed those dreams. I had manifested those things that I wanted. And it's time for me to dream bigger or
You have
stronger
to keep
or
renewing your dreams. You have to keep renewing.
exactly,
It's
exactly,
interesting because it's like you can sit in gratitude for the fact that how I told you, like you recognizing like I'm living in my dream, but you keep dreaming. You keep going,
absolutely,
right? You can
absolutely.
be in this while you still keep dreaming, you know?
Right, right. And so Monday, I spent Monday in a space called the Dream Room
Okay. Okay.
because honestly and truly, the places that I truly want to go scares me. It
Mhm.
scares me because it's like, oh, child, that right there, little girl, is huge. It's
Mhm.
huge. We're releasing a coffee table book, The People's Coffee House,
Mhm.
and that book will be in my hand at any time now. The first time I put the first copy in my hand, the energy that was emitting from that book was crazy. It is something very special about the pages of that book. And I am not putting any boundaries on what's going to happen behind that book. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know who is going to help me meet. I don't know what financial rewards I'm going to earn because of it. But that book is so powerful. It is, it is so powerful. And I'm so grateful because it tells some rich stories. It talks a little bit about me, but then it talks about people in the coffee house. And it is the reason why we call it the People's Coffee House. They're telling their own stories, it's their photos. It's so well put together. I am so very proud of that work that I've put in. It took 3 years to complete it.
Oh wow.
And right now I feel like I'm still rushing it, but it is ready and it is a beautiful product. I'm overjoyed with it coming. And yeah, I am going to be working on self. I'm gonna get that book back in my head
You have
because I
to.
need all of that. I
You
need
have
all of that.
to. I'm gonna give you another
Yes.
one. I think I told you about the other one. I now know them both by heart and I revisit them both, but The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Waddles is the other one for me. And
Yes.
I graduated to that one probably like 3 or 4 years after starting with that one. It's amazing though, because now on Audible, because as I'm sure you can tell, I was able to, I think I stopped the membership for like a month or two, but we got it back. And now I
Yeah.
probably have hundreds of books on Audible now. But The Science of Getting Rich is the other one. And it really talks about the same principles from the game of life and how to play it, but really focusing on what the ultimate thing is, which is there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. And it's talking about the thinking stuff here. All things are made here. And it really talks about if all things are made from here, what you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how to take it and focus on your wealth, how to focus on getting rich, how to focus on money, how to focus on growth. And I really love that because most people experience so much anxiety around the things that they really want. But think about it,
Yes.
your thinking stuff, if everything's made from your thinking stuff, your brain and you're experiencing anxiety, you're just creating more of that anxiety.
Yes.
And one of the things I like to tell my clients is if you're experiencing anxiety, that is literally because you are not trusting that the thing is already solved and done. Like you are literally living. First off, you are creating a picture that doesn't even exist yet. You're thinking of the worst outcome in the worst scenario. You create anxiety about stuff not working, not having the money, not having the opportunities, is not going the way you want to. You're creating that because you're literally creating a movie in your mind of the worst thing happening or things not. Why are you borrowing a trouble that doesn't even exist, yet you're making it exist? If you have
Yeah.
to use your brain, which we do, I hope, if you're going to use it, why not use it to see what you really want? Why create so
Right.
much anxiety about things that you cannot do anything about anyway if it does go that way? You might as well
Right.
use it to think about that book coming out and opening all sorts of doors for you. Like really start
Yes.
dreaming. And if you got to use it, you might as well use it for what you want it for, because there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. Use that thinking stuff, your brain,
Oh,
for the thing you
oh,
really
use that. See, I like that. I'm gonna use my thinking stuff, honey.
want. Thinking stuff. I mean, it really matters. I don't know if you dug into that particular book, but that one is a good one, The Science of Getting Rich.
And so here's the thing, and I've been posting this probably for about 8 months. Everything I need to have everything I want, I already have it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Books, tools, journals, vision boards, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I need to have everything I want is
Yeah,
already in this little girl.
I love it.
It's like you don't need another class.
Yeah.
You don't need another workshop.
You might though,
You
but
just
no, I'm like you might, but yeah.
well, yeah, I could
I'm
use a
like you
good
might.
coach.
You needed to hear that information about your relationship with money. You know what I'm saying? You might, but
Oh,
it's
absolutely,
all
absolutely.
still within
And I
you.
do know that I need a good. I do know that I need a good coach. I do know
But it's
that I need
all
a good
still
coach.
in you.
Michael
Because
Jordan needed a good coach. He's the
it's
greatest
all
player on
still
the.
within you. I think the best coach helps you really dig in you. It's ultimately
Yes,
all in you, not out
yes,
here.
yes. Right.
When I get off
So,
with you, I'm gonna go lay in my bed and dream about my throat not hurting.
but you know what? I think there's something in the air because I had a few down days last week, and when I say I was down, I was
Mm.
not feeling well at all. I don't, and I still don't know what the phantom sickness was. I was just sick,
Mm-hmm.
just sick. So we have had some good conversation today,
Wait, we
but
done?
guess what? We are not done. I wanted to get us. I need us to talk about how we're going to have you in Dayton, Ohio next week.
Yes. Can you, first of all, can you believe it's next week?
I cannot believe. So when we scheduled this time together, I was like, that time is going to come like that. So let me just say, I have totally enjoyed getting to know LaRue 1680. I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know that
Have you been
product.
trying all the tea?
I've been trying all the tea, and we have it marked. We like the way that I have it merchandised. I have it in these little like kind of like a little mason jar kind of thing, but it's like a salt and pepper shaker.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
shake it a little bit, you can smell the aroma. So you can see the teas, how beautiful they are, and you can smell it. It's very fragrant, and I am just totally enjoying it. And my customers are really enjoying it.
I was
And we're
going
going to be
to ask you how your customers are loving and responding.
they're responding very well. I had a gentleman here a couple days ago, and he's like, I've got teas from all over the world, and da 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 da. And, I've got 200 teas in my closet, all over. And I was like, okay. I said, well, let me make you something. And I think I made him the Island Breeze Pina Colada.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tried it, and before he could even taste the tea, the aroma had him. Like the aroma of the tea, he was locked in
Mm-hmm.
with that aroma. Um, Yesterday, so I have the tea in my classroom,
Okay.
and I'm taking my students through. Uh, we're going through a marketing chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the first conversations we had yesterday was, we talked about Lipton tea because everybody has Lipton tea in their house. So we talked about that. We talked about the price point of it. And
Yeah.
then then I put some of my Casablanca in a
Mm-hmm.
little bowl.
It's
And
one of my favorites. It's Casablanca. It's one of my favorites.
yes. So I let each of the students be able to look. First, they looked at the tea, then they smelled it, and they passed it around the room. And then I asked them questions about, like, what did you see? Like, how does it smell? How does it make you feel? And I had to make them understand that yes, we have grown up with a Lipton tea, okay,
Mhm.
but that Lipton tea, when you're smelling that Lipton tea, you're not getting that experience. It's not as beautiful. You don't have those chunky
Not
pieces of
even
it.
tea, girl. It's not even tea. It's
It's
dust.
it's dust. It's dust. And that was something that I learned when I was on my coffee journey. When I
Mhm.
was on my coffee journey, I went to trade shows, and they talked about teas, and I understood then what it wasn't.
Mhm.
So I have, so this educate my coffee education is broad, and it's given me so much richness, but I definitely enjoy that, just creating it. And so I'm exposing my students now are exposed to like a T-baller and all of these things, and they're like, they said we didn't know what you were doing. But now, because we've had these conversations, they're now understanding what a loose tea is and how to prepare it properly. So we are just so excited to have you come in and share some of your knowledge with our employees. But Saturday, November 4th, we are even more excited to have you come in and share the afternoon with us for our executive high tea. It is a SHE-Roe fundraiser, our very first fundraiser for our SHE-Roe program. The whole city is excited.
I'm so excited. I saw some people who have
Yes.
been following me for years on Facebook were like, this one lady, she was like, I'm going to be there. I'm like, oh, I love that.
And I love her. So she is, like, when I say me and this woman met years ago,
Just see the date. Like, I don't know. I'm like, what is
instantly,
happening?
instantly hit it off. Instantly hit it off. She is such, her energy is just,
I
like,
love it.
she is just a phenomenal person.
I love
So
this. The
to have
world is
this,
so small, though. Like for it to
it's
be
that
so large,
big.
it's so small.
Yes. And when she reached out to me, she was like, I just got my ticket. I just got my ticket. And I was like, oh my goodness. She said, and that's what she said. She said she had been following you for years, and she's not going to miss the opportunity to meet you in person.
I love
So that is phenomenal. I
it.
mean,
And
you
then I think
know,
she's been following me on the entrepreneur space. And, I don't say this to like be braggadocious or anything like that. But, to even get in a room with me, it's like $5,000. So, yeah, to
wait a
even
minute.
get
I'm like, excuse me?
in a room, to even get in a room with me. Right. And so,
Oh,
when
wow.
people have followed me for that long and they know what my pricing is and they know what it, like because again, you have to know what you know, what you know. Just having a conversation with me will change your life. My energy will change your life, right?
Mm,
It's because of the way I move, and I always speak power into people, and I'm always telling you like that. If God lives in me, that's what's gonna come up. That's what's gonna come out my mouth, right?
yes.
That's the information that's gonna come
Yes.
out my mouth. And so for a person to even be able to get in a room with me, and I don't even know what all we're going to talk about, but what I do know is it's going to be life changing. People will leave there not the same. And I'm very excited about that. But for them to be able to get in a room for a very small cost,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
going to a good cause, I think is pretty phenomenal.
Oh my goodness. We are so just a little bit about our SHE-Roe storytelling program. We
Hmm.
are shifting that entire program, and we are in our 6th year of SHE-Roe. And for 6 years, we've had 6 women each year share their stories 1 month at a time. And as we're shifting the SHE-Roe program, we're shifting to a 1 day event. We're going to pour all of our resources in having a mega SHE-Roe event. And I'm not going to call it a TED Talk duplicate. I'm not going to call it a vagina monologue duplicate. It is the SHE-Roe storytelling series.
Yeah.
And it is going to be one power punching day.
I'm
Okay.
so excited about it.
Yes. And the other thing that we're doing, and one of the reasons, another reason that we need to do this fundraiser is that our 2024 SHE-Roes will be treated to a 3 day retreat so that they can hone in on those speaking skills and those storytelling skills that we need them to have to deliver that power punching
Mm.
performance, you know?
Mm.
So it's like, it's going to be groundbreaking. I see it. And see, that's the thing about those visions. Honey, that day is inked into the books of history already. You hear me? It
Yes,
is
yes.
already inked into the books of history.
I
And I'm
have seen
so
it already. I've seen it already.
excited. Yes, it is going to be
You
a
know, you were
wonderful
saying
day.
something that I think too, I want to pause and kind of highlight. You were talking about like taking them through a 3 day storytelling event. I don't think people really recognize the power of your story, knowing how to tell your story, knowing how to tell your story from different angles, depending on who your audience is, depending on if it's TV, magazine, a book, speaking gig, like a TED Talk, or vagina, like whatever it is. I don't think
Yes.
people realize. And when these women can really lock in on that, it's gonna change their life. It's gonna change their life.
Mm, yeah. I,
Mhm.
I'm very excited about the direction that SHE-Roe is about to take in this
So is
shift.
SHE-Roe your non? Is it a nonprofit?
So it is my nonprofit side
Mhm.
of everything that I do.
Mhm.
And the funny thing about SHE-Roe is that it started out as a way to bring people into the coffee house for the
Mhm.
afternoon. So I was like, oh, this is a great way. People come and get a little hour of power. They come and have lunch. Win, win, win.
Mhm.
And so from that point, it went from, okay, we'll have SHE-Roe on Wednesdays. Okay, we'll have SHE-Roes on Thursday evening so people can come. We'll have SHE-Roes on Saturday mornings. So we've
Mhm.
been doing all of these things. In a month or so ago, I'm like, no, we got to shift this thing, a full day event. Everybody supports everybody on that 1 day, and this is going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be groundbreaking. And we've already got our Human Race Theater is already on board with the program. The Human Race Theater is a theater that was created by women,
Mhm.
and now, some many decades later, the theater is now run by women, period. So when they learned about the SHE-Roe program, they were like, yes, 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 and yes. So we
Yes,
already have a venue for our SHE-Roe 1 day event for next year.
that is so
So
exciting.
it is gonna be all of that.
And
All of that.
I just want you to know, like, I love how you're pouring into your community, and you're not just, it really is the people's coffee house. You're thinking about how can I give back
Yes.
and I do what the people need? How can I show up and be what the people need? And so I just
Right.
want to applaud you for that, because so often we start companies and people don't really, I mean, they think about the people in terms of like, what can I sell the people, but not really like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I pour and give back to the people? So I applaud you for that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And and I'll be honest with you, some of the because I am an educator, because I am a caregiver, there's so many things that I've done in my business that's been more touchy-feely, that's been more feel good, and they probably haven't been the best moves for me as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
We've got one
Balance.
more
Gotta find the
adjustment.
balance. Gotta find.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that balance is coming very soon. And I hope that the community is ready for it. It's going to be a great thing for me because, like I said, I've spent the last year trying to figure out what's going to work better for me as an entrepreneur. Do I stay on this path? Do I move? Do I this? Do I that? Trying to figure out everything because this little girl's in the fourth quarter. I know I look 25.
Yes.
I know
Okay.
I look 25, but she's 52. So she's got to make sure that these next few years, we've got to plant some amazing seeds that
Mhm.
will give me the life that I have worked for and that I deserve. Because
Mhm.
I'm very deserving of the lifestyle that I love, that I long for.
You are
So
worthy. You are worthy of it.
yes, yes.
And I really
So
don't believe you would desire it if it wasn't meant for you.
I know, girl. So this is the I was watching a TikTok video and they were talking about men and women on vacation. And this guy, he's walking around and in his head, he's like, okay, we gotta do this. Did I get the sunscreen? Do I have water? Did I bring enough money? Like he's counting all this list, right? And then they panned over and the woman, she was in her head, she was like, like she ain't thinking about nothing. And it's like, I think I like that.
To not think about anything. Mhm.
Yes. Yes. So we are working towards those type of privileges to be
Yes.
able to walk around and enjoy our lives and not feel pressure, not feel the anxiety. And that makes the thought of that, which I can see very clear, makes me very happy.
Yes. I love that. I love
Makes me
that.
very happy. So, another thing, because this is the Broken Entrepreneur podcast, so I would be wrong if I didn't ask you to tell us about a challenge that you've had in your business and how you overcame that challenge. Can you share something with us?
Like LaRue, or it doesn't matter.
Whatever you want to share. God bless you.
Thank you. Um, the one that I probably shouldn't share, but that's the name of the game for me, right? I'll share all the things that I shouldn't share. I want to say it was 2012 or 2013 in my consulting space. One of the things that a lot of people come to me for is also the very thing people don't particularly care. Like it's triggering. I'm triggering. Is my
Okay.
is my honesty, sharing what I see. And if a person has not done enough work within themselves, it can go real left because they're not ready to be triggered. And I
Mhm.
remember having this client and I told her that I thought she needed a therapist. She did not need me. She needed therapy. She did not need to worry about marketing and scaling. She had to get her stuff together. And let's just say 24 hours later, fun fact, I was in Italy at the time. It's amazing how life circles us back around, isn't it? But I was in Italy and I was there for 3 months. And I woke up the next morning and I realized like my email's full. my friend Sharice, as a matter of fact, was calling me. So the time, it was such a time difference. She like, when you wake up, listen, wake up. They put you out the group. You need to see. This lady had started this whole campaign to cancel me. And I was out of the country with my son. And this is how I make my money. I market online. So this group with like thousands of people in a specific group, it was somebody else's group that they were in there talking mess about me in. And it was interesting because the girl who ran the group, she used it as an opportunity to say, well, anybody who worked with her, you don't want to work with her anymore. You can come work with me. I found that really funny. What they didn't know is I was breaking down in Italy. I mean, I'm talking hyperventilating, crying, so upset. Like, I'm out of the country with my kid. My business has finally blown up. It's like, once I get to this place, fun fact, let me tell you something. Sometimes what you think is blowing up is not blowing up. And sometimes things have to fall apart for God to blow your mind. But at the time, I didn't really know that's what was going on. Okay. So I'm like literally feeling like my world is falling apart. Clients were emailing me to leave. At this point, only like 3 clients who sticking in there. They're like, I don't even care about what they're talking about. You're effective. I don't care anything about what they're talking about. And I literally spent a week almost having a nervous breakdown, like crying every day. But I wouldn't let the people online know, right? And I wasn't responding to it at all. And one of my girlfriends who live in London, I had just left London at a birthday party of hers, and we went by Kensington Palace. And she said, because they have like different events and stuff there. And she said, Stephanie, do you remember when we first stood outside, not Kensington, but the other one, we stood outside the gates? She said, do you think the queen was in there worried about what people outside the gates had to say about her? And I paused and I was like, what? And she repeated, she said, do you think Queen Elizabeth is in the castle looking out the window, worried about what people standing outside the gates who wish they were in the castle had to say about her? And I was, I'm crying now. And she's like, dry your tears. You're the queen. These are people who wish they were in your position. They are jealous of you. They are trying to bring you down. If you don't be the queen that you are and quit worrying about what's going on outside the castle and outside the gates that's outside the castle. And it was like, as simple as that was, it was like this aha moment for me.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're right. I'm about to lose clients because I'm sitting here crying, not showing up, my energy shifting. And instantly I was like, I'm the queen. And this is my castle, and you can't cancel me. That's why by the time cancel culture came, I had already kind of been through that period of somebody trying to cancel me. And so when people don't understand when I say, oh, I'm uncancelable, baby, the only person can cancel me is God. Can't nobody cancel me. I'm so sorry.
Say that.
Say that. God, the only one. Do you hear me? So I immediately shifted my energy. And within 1 week, I had made exactly what I made the month before. And that was my first year I crossed 7 figures. So I was over here crying about $15,000 months and $20,000 months. And next thing I know, I'm doing that in a day and not thinking anything about it. And so what happened was, I really believe in death. And you asked me one little question. I'm sorry, I'm getting to it. All of this is the answer. I really believe in death. And I believe sometimes we can't get the new things in our life because we're not willing to kill off the old version of ourselves. And what happened was that particular situation really made me kill off that old version of myself who was worried about what people had to say about me outside of the gates. That version of me made me step into the queen that I am. I killed off that version of Stephanie and became this new person. So when I became this new person, God could really bless me the way God really wanted to bless me. Literally within 30 days, I was in new communities with new people. I went from charging $400 a month to charging $8,000 a month. My life changed just like that because I decided I was the queen. And you know what? I'm not going to play out here with it. Why am I playing out here in the mud with people? You know what? This is a blessing. Let me move over here. And that was my broken entrepreneur moment where I overcame something that could have really crushed me. If I had
Yes.
stayed in my emotions and really moved in that, that could have crushed me. And my heart was crushed. I was broken. I didn't, people ganging up. That's why I'm not big on cancel culture. Even if somebody did something quote unquote wrong, the
Mm-hmm.
idea that thousands of people would bully one person is ridiculous to me. It's
Isn't
ridiculous.
that crazy?
It is crazy. I never, even if they're wrong, I would not. Actually, you would probably find me reaching out to them because this we are going to attack people have never solved the problem. All you do is create a society who lie to you. You create a society who lie to you because they want you to believe that they believe what you want them to believe. They don't. I had this conversation the other day. I was talking about the amount of Black entrepreneurs who are Republican, and people were like, "No, I don't know anything." I'm like, "No, they tell you
Yeah,
on
you
social media one story, but I'm gonna tell you, I done seen them inside of Republican functions. You better listen to what I'm telling you. I'm one of the few that openly, I'm like, listen, I kind of told the middle. It depends on what we talking about. When we talking about my money, I'm very Republican. I'm gonna be over here. I'm sorry, when we talk about my money, I'm gonna be over here, right? But these people will literally make you think that they are believing what you believe because they want to keep getting your money. They want to keep pandering to you. They don't stand on who they are. They don't stand on their beliefs. But that's because we have created this society and this culture where if you don't believe what I want you to believe, then we go cancel you. And the best thing that could ever happen to you is you create this thing inside of yourself where you're like, the only person can cancel me is God. So that means I can be who I truly am. I don't have to lie about who I am. I don't have to lie about my beliefs. I don't have to lie about where I stand because God got me. God got me
Mm-hmm.
every time. So that was a long story, but I hope somebody got it because all too often, especially in this online world where we have access to more people and more people have access to us, people are mean, people are ugly. And the first time you do something they don't want, that's what they try to do. And I just want to give a message like, don't be that person. If somebody really did something, how about you reach out to them to support them? How about
Directly.
you reach out to have
Yeah.
exactly reach out and try to have a conversation? A lot of people are learning. A lot of people are on this path and they are learning as they go, and maybe they don't even see it. Maybe they don't even know. Be willing to reach
Mm-hmm.
out to them. But what is never the answer is deciding you are going to attack in droves. It is ridiculous.
Yes. Yes. And it is such, and it's I don't even call it cancel culture. I call it a bully culture
It is.
because when you have hundreds, if not thousands of people rallying against me and my comment or my opinion, when did it become a crime to have my a comment or opinion? It's like I own that. It is mine. And now we're so guarded by what we say that I feel like we're taking the ability to be transparent and truthful away.
That's
And if
exactly
we
what
can't
happened.
be transparent and truthful, that means you have people walking around having conversations that really just fluff your feathers. It may
That's
not be
it.
helping you at all, but it is fluffing those feathers.
Feel good on it.
Yes.
That's just air.
Hold on. Wait, why I say it feel good and Siri talking? Oh, these Apple products.
Look, no comment.
She said, what? She said, yes, girl.
No
But
comment.
no, it's true. It's true. Like we are what you are literally asking for a society of fluff and you feel
Yes.
good. But let me tell you something, change don't come
And
in
we
50
just got out of woke culture. We just do we want to be woke?
change. Change does not come in your feel good. That's not usually where the change come. If you were
No.
perfect, if you were perfect and everything was great, if we can't be open to any correction, that's
Right.
problematic. One thing, and I don't think anybody particularly likes it, but one thing you have to do is be willing to take the correction and sit in
Yes.
it for a moment. I have had moments, and it's called growth. It's called growth, maturity, emotional maturity. Well, people corrected me about something, and in the moment, I didn't like how I felt. And then I would go to sleep and wake up like you didn't have to go that hard. They were actually right. Why did you go that hard? And then what it's taught
Right.
me was to take it, just take it for a minute, and then say, you know what? Let me sit in it. I don't see it right now. I'm emotional right now, But when we can move out of a space of emotion, that's really where the problem comes. Most people are way too emotional. We are not stoic enough. When we can move into stoicism and really learn how to handle our emotions, we can make correct decisions. But we are too emotional. That's a problem. And we don't
Yes.
realize how big of a problem it is.
Right. And see, I'm gonna have to I'm fully agreeing with you because like I told you, I am working on self right now and working on how I deal with my relationships. And when you are so emotional, sweetie, you're not vibrating high. You are not in a better space. So the decisions that you're making, the things that you're saying, it's low hanging. It is low vibrating. And that's not where I choose to be. I want to be so much better than that. So if I want to dance with Stephanie's higher self, then I'm gonna have to stay there. And sometimes that's not where the emotions dwell.
Mm-mm.
But the other piece of this puzzle is giving other people permission to be who they are. And sometimes we have to honor those people as they are. If we don't fit in those puzzles, that means we have to do something different,
Exactly.
not them. It's
Exactly.
like it's
Because
not
they
them.
can be who they are. Like we have to be willing to let people be whatever it is and also be okay with people not agreeing. Like people don't have to
Absolutely
agree with you. Why you want to be with people who everybody agrees with you and your point of view? That is so
right.
boring. Me and
Right.
my
It
friends,
it
we
is
disagree on
boring.
stuff all the time. Like we'll just agree to disagree on it, and we get real heated. But we agree to disagree. Well, we will agree to disagree. I take my stance, you take yours, and we love and
Right.
respect each other through that because we don't have to agree with each other. But most people really want to mirror
Mm-hmm.
and agree with each other on everything. But how do we learn and grow in that? How do
Right.
we learn and grow when we aren't challenged, when our beliefs aren't challenged? We are so used to not being challenged in this world, but we need
Oh
that's why
my
I like debate. I used to love debate in college. Like to have my viewpoint challenged. Now I'm an Aquarius, so I'm probably gonna keep it, but I'm very open to other views. And if it makes sense to me, which it does sometimes, I'm logical. Remember,
goodness.
Stoicism, I am about logic. If it's logic, I can say, never thought about it like that.
Right.
But
Right.
most people aren't willing to do that. You need to be open to other point of views because that's how you sharpen your tools. You
Oh
sharpen
right.
your tools by being challenged. And even
Mhm.
in that defending, not as far as like fussing defending, but like even within yourself, why do you believe what you believe? Well, how do you stand on what you believe? And being fair to everyone in it. How that's what challenges it and sharpens your tool. Most people who have right now, we have so much going on in the world, as we know, and the internet is going crazy. And fun fact, when I talk to most people don't even really, they don't have enough awareness. They have like the same little viewpoint and argument. And I'm like, your tools aren't sharpened. That tells
Right.
me you just jumped on a bandwagon. And jumping on a
Right.
bandwagon, you don't have no sharp tools because you can't even come to me educated in order to
Mm.
have a conversation. So this is why we have to be willing to be challenged so that we can
Mhm.
learn more about our craft. That's why we have to keep going, growing, and studying, no
Yes.
matter what we're
I'm
talking about.
proud to be I want to I don't have to be the smartest person in the room.
No,
I
you
thrive myself on not being the smartest person in the room, honey, because
yes.
that's a room I've already outgrown. I want to be in a
Mhm.
room full of people who are, even if I'm just listening to their conversations and getting that knowledge and just, it's oozing off of them and falling on
Yes.
me. I,
Yes.
I want that because there is no known limit for the mind to develop, grow, and change. So
Right.
I'm never going to put myself in a space where I'm not developing, growing, and changing. I'm not going to ever do that. And
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, I've with my students every day, I'm learning something from my students every day. So yes, sometimes I am the brightest bulb in the room, but I really take pride in actively learning from others on an active basis, because at that moment when I know too much, when I know too much, it's like, are you stopping? Because we have to continue to cultivate our minds. We have to.
We
We
really
have
do.
to.
Even down to like sometimes we can outgrow like our current environment, our current, people. And I mean, the truth is, we
Absolutely.
can, right? But one of the things that I always tell people is like, I only talk about things I really know. I know a lot about a lot, but I don't know everything, right?
Right.
It's okay for you to be the smartest on a subject. Like it's gonna be real hard for people to have a conversation with me about anything about the brain and subconscious reprogramming because I go real deep on it, right? I can go real deep on it. But there's a lot of other
Okay.
conversations that I'm like, no, wait, talk to me, school me, right? It's okay.
Right.
It may be a lot of situations where you might be good on this topic, but somebody knows something else about something you didn't have a clue about.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's okay. And then also consciously putting yourself in new rooms. Like I was telling a group I had an event maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I was telling them next May I'm going to the Berkshire Hathaway investors meeting, which is always the first weekend in May. And all you need to do, you just have invested in Berkshire Hathaway class A or class B. It doesn't matter which one. You got to act your age. Class A is like $500,000 per share. So that is not the one I just got. I got the other one. But it doesn't matter which one, you get to come
Right.
to Berkshire Hathaway meeting. And to my understanding, I know a couple people who have gone, like this is a room of people who are worth 50 million, 100 million and above, having conversations about money and investing and power. And I'm like, I need to be in that room. And so I decided,
Yes.
I already booked my hotel, like I booked everything, and I will definitely be right there in Nebraska first weekend in May for the investors meeting. Because if you want to be in a room with people, I know a little about investing, but I am not a master there. So you know what? Let me make sure I'm in a room with people, a bunch of people who are way smarter than me when it comes to growing
Yes.
money in this way and making dividends. So sometimes you have to
Wow.
actively put yourself in a room. You got to be very conscious and say, let me get in a room with people who are smarter than me on this. Sometimes you have to
Yes.
do this because we do outgrow our like right local community sometimes.
Yes. And that is very, very true. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very true. So tell me, we're going to wrap this up soon, but before we do, I want to hear what took you overseas. Like, how has that journey been for you in Italy? Um, like I said before, I totally enjoy watching you purchase your home and the purchase of your furniture and just seeing some things that you developed. I've watched you make bread in France. I mean, I have been watching because for me to see a brown woman go after her dreams and make them happen has been very encouraging for me. And it has been a spark for me. I needed to see you. I needed to see you make that happen because surely if you can, so can
Mhm.
I. Like,
Absolutely.
period. If you can, so can I. And I do, I was when I was looking at you the first time, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a lake house. And I was like, this girl done went to Italy and bought her a house. I don't have to confine myself to a lake in Tennessee. I can go wherever I want to.
If you want
But
a
it,
lake house in Tennessee, you can. But if not, you can
but
do
it is
something else.
true. Yes, but the thought of you doing that allowed me to dream differently and allowed me to see myself in a way that I didn't before
I
because
love
that wasn't a part of my process. And now you've opened a door for women who wasn't even thinking about this vacation home or this is where I live.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking that until they saw you do it. So I appreciate my trailblazers. And but how did you make that happen for those of those of my viewers that haven't been stalking you for years?
So interesting enough, somebody else just told me, and I really feel like God put you and some clients and people in my life to tell me this because for a while I considered not even sharing about it. because believe it or not, for me to be so public, I'm also very private. Like it's a very interesting dance. Like, should I even share? And this girl who we've been connected online for a few years, she messaged me maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. She had just closed on her place in Mexico.
Okay.
And my event that I just had, she said, like, I'm getting some feedback. Do you hear it? It's like,
Uh, it might be this. My phone went dead.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's still,
Did it go away?
no, it's still echoing like every time I speak.
Wait a minute. I know what it is. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna get rid of this, and it should go away. Did that help?
Okay, let's see. No,
Really?
that is so weird.
I
That
don't
is,
know.
do you have another device?
Mm-mm. No, my cell phone went dead, so I don't have anything else working against
Okay,
me.
so I'm just gonna hope that for the recording, it isn't because I'm hearing it
Because
so clear.
it's not echoing on my side.
It's not okay. So we'll just go for it. So yeah, so traditional publishing takes a long time to actually hit the shelves or whatnot, especially when we're coming into election years. But one of the main things that stood out to her is when we look at the bookshelves and we see books that people have written about moving anywhere outside of the United States to Europe specifically, no one looks like me. Not
No
only do
one.
they not look like me, they also aren't single parents. They usually come from extreme wealth or they're married to somebody who's successful and they have kids. Like my entire story encompasses something that you never really see. And so she was like, Stephanie, you have to tell the story. So, and I kept saying, do people want to read this? Do people want to read this story? And so when I hear you say that, like, it's just confirmation that, okay, God, you want me to move forward with this because people are watching and people do care and
Yes, they do.
people do see what's possible. So, you know, I have always been I'm crazy. I'm just crazy enough that if I think it up, I think I can do it. I'm just crazy enough. So in 2021, and I move fast, by the way. This is a secret of mine, and I don't know if this works for other people, but I tend to tell my clients when that idea come, when you get that download, move immediately because it's in that energy where the power is of the immediacy. You get the idea, go with it. Don't question it. Don't wonder how. Don't worry about it. Just go for it and know that the rest is going to work out for you. So it's July 2021. I'm here in Atlanta, and it hits me to look for a house in Europe just to see what was out there. Like I didn't know I was going to buy anything. And remember, I'm a dreamer. So I mean, look, I'm window shopping. I'm just trying to see what's available. So je parle un peu le français. So I automatically looked at France because okay, at least I know a little bit of the language and
Yes.
I could practice a little bit more while I'm there. And, of course, it's always better when you're in the country. So I'm in different groups and I'm looking to see what's available. And someone pops in and say, well, you guys ever looked at Italy? Because real estate is like very well priced in Italy. You can get really great deals. And I had forgotten because I've spent a lot of time in Italy. I had forgotten all about my love for Italy. It's very interesting how life is, where you could love something and be in a place, and then life goes, and you like. I literally remember saying one day I'm going to move to Italy, and life happens and you go on about your business and you forget the dream. Like I really forgot the dream. So when she said it, I was like, Italy. I remember spending 3 months in Sicily in this little town called Cavallo. And I remember when I got there, I was like, I would love to live here. Like I could totally live here. It's beautiful. But I've forgotten about it. So just out of curiosity, since she said it, I went to see in Italian groups what was available. And, compared to what I wanted in the south of France that started with 800,000, $1 million, Italy was looking real good. Exactly. You, because friends hurt my feelings a little bit. I was like, oh, friends hurt my feelings. Like,
Oh goodness. I
oh,
love it.
ended up popping into a group. And again, I'm just looking to see what's available. So the 800 went bothering me because remember, I'm just looking anyway, right? I'm just looking.
Right.
But then
Right.
go over to France and I'm seeing prices under 100,000. I mean, Italy, and I'm seeing prices under 100,000. I'm like, wait. We might be able to do something with this. Hold on. So I'm looking at different houses and I'm Googling, I'm researching, I'm finding agents. I'm realizing how different the culture is. There, you don't just get one agent for all these houses. You might be working with 20 different agents, depending on the little small town or the village. And in one village is multiple agents, and it's not like the multiple listing services here. It's just a whole clusterfuck, basically. Anyway, I
Okay.
ended up reaching out to a few agents. And once I figured out the town I wanted to be in, got with her, she was not responding to my message. And I knew she was super busy and ended up being on a lot of press. I'm messaging. So I joined their Facebook group. And just so happened, I also sent the agent a friend request. And when she saw the friend request, she saw in my profile where I said I was learning French. And she hopped in and she said, you speak French? I'm like, enough to communicate. And she's like, oh, I did see your message in English, but it takes me so long to translate it. I've just been busy.
Oh wow.
So I would get around to it, but all the messages I get in English, you guys have to wait a few months because of how long it takes me with translation. But I was actually born in France, even though I'm Italian. So I speak French. So if you can speak French with me, I can help you find a house. So that's what I did, which helped my French a little bit because some words I didn't know I had to look up. I was like, hold on, and that was July. July, I started the process. That was August when I connected with her. By the end
Okay.
of August, I found a house. By November of 21, I was in Italy to sign for the house. It literally, July, it was an idea. This is cute. It's a cute idea. Let's see what's out there. By November, I'm in Italy to sign for the house. It literally happened that quickly. And I contribute this to a few things, but the main one being that I thought it was just like this idea that hit my head, right? I'm just going to look for shopping. God knew
Yeah.
I was going to look at friends first. God also
Wow.
sent the person in that group because he knew I had no business over there with the $1 billion houses yet. Knowing I was paying cash for it, God sent that person there to say, come look over here in Italy.
Yes.
And within a very short amount of time, life has completely changed. Like I said, I was just in Italy filming for a show. I now have a major book deal with a major publisher. I like so many doors have opened that I had no clue would open for me. Old dreams and visions that I had before I got into this work have come
Yes.
back to me. It's funny how it's like a full circle moment because before I ever got my major was broadcast communications, but I went into that knowing that I wanted to be the Black Martha Stewart. I wanted to do videos around home and cooking and styling and decorating and remodeling. And there was no blueprint other than her, really, right? There was literally her and BC style. It was nobody else. HGTV wasn't even a thing back then. Food Network wasn't even a thing back then. And life has really morphed. And of course, I knew I could get on social media and do it, but I have a thriving career. I don't have to start over. Why do I have to start over? And who knew
Wow.
that at the age of 40, I was 40 when this happened. At the age, actually, I was 39. Who knew that at the age of 39, God would send me down this path of buying a house that I think is just my retirement plan, our vacation house. And next thing I know, all these doors are opening for me that has given me this full circle moment. And God has put me back as this teenager, early 20s, who really wanted to go into lifestyle before lifestyle was a real thing. And somehow I'm back.
Right. Only if we knew that that was going to be a job.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. One of my best friends calls me Black Martha. Like before I went on this coffee house journey, she'd be like, and Black Martha over here with her, blah, 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 blah. Whether it was me, I know how to drywall, I paint, I do some like plumbing. I don't deal with electricity, okay? But there are so many things that as a single mother,
Mhm.
and I wanted to have certain things going on in my home. I had to get real comfortable with a screwdriver, a nail, a drill, and sandpaper or
Don't it
whatever
make you
else.
feel real grown when you have a toolkit? It make you feel real grown.
Girl. And but you know, and although that she is such a big part of me,
Mhm.
you know, there's so many things along the years. It's like, you know, she is still here because she knows how to do all of that. I
Uh-huh.
don't want to anymore.
Right. You pay other people to do it, right? It's the thing of knowing
Yes,
how to. But
yes, and that's the lady of leisure. That's that whole lady of
absolutely.
leisure premise because it's not what I can't do. I
Right.
choose not
You
to.
choose not to. But in the things, I was having that conversation with someone, the things I choose to do, someone was saying, like, oh, well, when I make money, I'm gonna have a chef and blah blah blah. I have people to clean for me. I don't wash clothes unless I'm last minute. And I have a washer and dryer, but I sit my stuff outside the front door. They pick it up, they wash it, fold it, bring it back, iron it, bring it back the next day, like those things. But the things that I do enjoy, I love cooking. It's how I show my love is preparing a
Yes,
really great meal and setting a table and really creating a vibe, right? So those are things
yes,
I never hand off. But the things I'm going to hand off are the things I don't love, like cleaning. And like I don't want to drywall. Like if I had to, I would. Like,
yes,
I can
yes.
stand there and watch and tell you what you're supposed to be doing, but it's just like I know how to change a tire, but Stephanie ain't finna change one.
I don't
I'm
want to
gonna do
change a tire, and I know how to do it. I can do it well.
and I can
I
tell
can.
you how to do it. I direct you. Don't you worry. I'm not doing it.
Oh my goodness, Stephanie, I'm telling you, we could do this for another 4 hours. I
I'm
hope you know
sure.
that.
But we
I
have we
hope
have so much to talk about when we get there for the tea. It's gonna be so amazing. So we're gonna save some stuff.
Oh my goodness. Look, for those of you who have watched this podcast, I want to say, first of all, thank you. And Stephanie, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to me in little Dayton, Ohio at Third Perk Coffee House. I have been enlightened today. I have been inspired today. I feel like I done got checked. You didn't really check me, but I feel like somewhere inside me, I was checked. Okay.
And I did my
So,
job.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. And guys, those of you who are watching, you entrepreneurs, I hope that you got a nuggets from something that we shared today because this again is the Broken Entrepreneur podcast and we are focusing on the healing and the restoring of our businesses, our minds, our spirits, all of it. So, as you guys are tuning in, make sure that you have subscribed to this channel because it is the subscribers who know what's going on, when it's going on. So, Miss Stephanie, next week we're going to roll out all the carpet for you, okay? All the carpet.
Excited. I'm
We
excited.
cannot wait to have you here. And until next week, guys, y'all stay perky. Keep on brewing on that good stuff. And remember, keep it going. Bye,
Bye.
Steph.